Hello, friends. Can you see me? If I am coming through to you through the interwebs, please leave a message in the chat. I'm going to do a test message. We're a little bit early. I just wanted to get it going and say hello. Comb your hair. George says comb my hair. It's been a long day, George. How does my voice sound? I'm using an external microphone tonight instead of the webcam microphone. Is the audio sound okay? You know what's funny, George? My mom tells me the same thing. My mom always says comb your hair. Okay. Ohio Woodburner says audio is excellent. Thanks for joining, Ohio Woodburner. I'm not familiar with your name before. Have you been watching my channel? Have you seen my videos before, or did you just see this live pop up and then you hopped in? Let me know. I'm always curious to see new faces. George says Lima Charlie. So that is I believe that is military speak, right? Lima Charlie, Alpha Bravo. I'm not quite sure what that means. Maybe Roger. Ohio Woodburner, my name is Joe. I watch your channel. Solar is a hobby of mine. Awesome, man. I love solar. I just did a solar installation today for a lady in her Ram ProMaster. She had her vehicle converted a few months ago, and they only gave her 200 watts of solar. And so she came to me. I added an additional solar panel for her, and also added a battery monitor. So did a little bit of work today. Yeah, so happy to be in the solar business. I love it. It's great and exciting to be able to get people, free energy from the sun and pretty reliable energy source. I really enjoy working with solar. So we're gonna wait just a few more minutes and see if we get anybody else up here in the live. And then we're going to go on and kind of talk about a few things tonight. One of the things I really wanted to talk about was just kind of vehicle dwelling in general, and then a little bit actually about the economy and kind of some different things that folks are doing. And me personally, I kind of feel like vehicle dwelling is a pretty good hedge against just overall economic inflation. It seems like the price of just everything is going through the roof. And so, whatever a person can do to kind of keep their expenses down is just going to be helpful in the long run. Help you to have a better quality life and just have a little more freedom in your life. Hello, Nicole. I see Journey with Nicole has just signed in. I just spoke with her last night, and so I'm actually going to be working with Nicole on a solar project. She has a box truck similar to mine, a little bit larger maybe, just a little bit bigger than mine, and so she's looking at adding a whole bunch of solar panels and an air conditioner and all kinds of fun stuff. So I'd be excited to help Nicole out with that. Get her going on her tiny home. It sounds like she's got some off-grid property she's going to be hanging out at, and so it should be pretty exciting to help her get her going. And it's always fun to be able to talk to the people that are like on the YouTube, and then to actually speak with them in person and kind of get to know them a little bit and see what kind of projects they're working with. That's always really fun for me. So it was nice to be able to speak with her last night and kind of learn a little bit about her and what she's got going on. And so I'm adjusting the audio a little bit just so that the mic syncs up a little better with my video, because I'm using an external microphone. Let's see what Nicole says. Appreciate your expertise. Yeah, I've been doing it for a while. I've been doing solar for many, many years. And so I'm happy to be able to help folks out with that and just kind of spread my knowledge and then help other people gain a little bit of knowledge themselves. So it's all about people helping people, right? Let's see. Let's try this. Let's see what else is going on. Okay, Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. Welcome to the chat. Jennifer says, can you run an air conditioner with solar? Yes, you absolutely can. I have my air conditioner in my van running off solar, and I ran it all last summer. I was in Texas. It was hot, and it just kept me going all summer. So yes, you can run an air conditioner with solar. You have to have a lot of solar though. So you're going to need, I think, in my opinion, as a minimum, you're probably going to want like around 1200 watts of solar in order to run an air conditioner. So it's pretty hard to do it on a van, like a Sprinter or a ProMaster. You're really not going to have enough roof space to be able to get as much panels as you need. So realistically, you'd want to have like a box truck, or you'd want to have a shuttle bus, something with a little more roof space, and then you can definitely do it. CMH Bullet, peace, brother. Peace back to you, CMH. Man, peace. The world definitely needs a little more peace. Anything we can do to bring more peace to the world, I'm all about it. Let's see. Jennifer says, how much would that cost? Well, there's a lot of variables as far as how much would something cost, like to do solar and air conditioning, but a general ballpark is, yeah, 20 foot, Jennifer. 20 foot is enough, depending on what vehicle you have. If you have like 20 feet of open roof space, like, if you don't have an RV, like, because RVs have a bunch of stuff on the roof. They have fans and vents and all kinds of other things that ultimately, take up space. So if you do not have that and you just have an open roof, like a shuttle bus or a box truck, then it shouldn't be an issue. It should not be an issue to go ahead and put solar on there for an air conditioner. As far as cost goes, you're going to be looking at, $5,000 to $6,000 probably just in materials by the time you figure the solar panels, your batteries, your inverter, the air conditioner. So it is a significant investment to have air conditioning in your rig. And the key here is to run off solar, right? So a lot of people that have air conditioning on their rigs, they use either a generator to power the solar or to power the air conditioner, or they only use their air conditioner when they're plugged into shore power. So like if you're renting a spot at a campground or an RV park, then if you can plug in, then it's not a big issue. But the part that gets expensive is having your own solar system and then the battery bank as well, to run the solar overnight. So like, for example, when I was in Texas, it's hot all night in Texas. So even though we get plenty of sun during the day, the minute the sun goes down, then your solar panels aren't bringing in really any power. So overnight, you're relying on your batteries to keep the air conditioner going until the next day when the sun comes up. So that's kind of where it gets expensive. Battery technology is still fairly costly, and you need a pretty big battery bank to run an air conditioner overnight. Anthony Rosa says, thanks for getting back to me. Hey, Anthony, good to see you. I saw that. So Anthony converted a box truck, and I believe he was in Texas. I think Anthony is in Texas, but he did a beautiful job converting a box truck. I was pretty surprised. In fact, let me pull it up. I'll show you guys this box truck that Anthony built, and you guys tell me what you think. But I was pretty impressed with it. As somebody who's personally, I've converted probably five different rigs myself, and it's very difficult. It takes a lot of time. And even after doing 5 builds, I'm still not a professional. Like, I'm really good with electrical, but when it comes to like building and doing, when it comes to building and then doing all the carpentry work and stuff, I'm still not as good as a real carpenter. And Anthony did a really good job. So it's cool to see the vehicles that the that the followers are building out. Let me show you guys this rig Anthony built, and you tell me what you think about it. Okay, so let me shrink down my screen here a little bit. So this is the box truck Anthony just converted. It is a he has it listed on Conversion Trader. It's a stealth tiny home. It's a 98 GMC 3500 cutaway 12-foot by 8-foot box truck. Now, if you look at this truck, it looks like, I mean, this thing is honestly about as stealth as you could get. This thing looks totally like a commercial vehicle. I would never in a million years think that there is a tiny home inside this rig. So I really like his vehicle choice because he picked one of these service trucks that has like the little panel doors on the side where people would keep tools and stuff. But when you look at the inside, it's pretty incredible. So look at this. All right, so he's got his little propane stove here. Let me pull this over so we can see it. And then he's got a Murphy bed on the wall. So he's got like a little couch area right here, and then this up on the top. This is a Murphy bed, and this actually folds down. So check that out. The couch cushions come down, and then the Murphy bed folds down off the wall. Now, me personally, I'm not a big fan of the brick on the wall. I know that's like a panel board you can get from Home Depot. If I bought this, but that's not a big deal. If I bought this rig, I would just put up a different panel board or paint over it. But otherwise, I think it's a cool design. The drop-down bed is pretty nifty. And then let's see what else he's got. And then here's another setup. So instead of the couch, you can have 2 chairs and then a little table in the middle. So that's cool. That's kind of a little hangout during the day, like dinette action. And then here's the kitchen area. Looks really nice. We got some, it looks like a butcher block countertop that's got some varnish on it. White cabinets. He's got the large slat. Excuse me. He's got the large slats on the wall, which are really nice. That's the same stuff I used. The overhead cabinets with the gas shocks to keep the doors suspended. So that looks really nice. Here's another shot of the kitchen area. Pretty cool. Lots of space there. You can see it looks like he's got a little air conditioner. I see an LG logo. So maybe there's a little air conditioner right under the kitchen top. It looks like there's 2 monitors here on the back wall. So maybe you could use this as like a workstation or just play your movies or something on those monitors. That's pretty cool. Nice big stainless farmhouse style sink, and he's got the big wraparound faucet. I like that one a lot. And then what else does he got? Okay, and then the shower. That's something that's missing out of my rig. So he's got a big, looks like a marble wall tiling, a shower. It's got a skylight up above, which is pretty sweet. I like the skylight in the shower area. And then he's got, again, more storage up here against the back wall. And a bunch of ivy, probably fake ivy and some turf. Again, my personal preference would not be the AstroTurf, but that's okay. Everyone has their own opinion. So if someone doesn't like it, they could change it out. Now this, I'm a little curious about having the electrical open like that right next to the toilet. That's an interesting choice. But I gotta say, Anthony, the electrical looks really good. It looks very clean. I can see everything's like heat shrunk, and it looks like it's secured very well. So overall, the electrical looks good. It looks like good quality work. But I think if this were me, I would try to cover that up. Maybe just put a panel board over the face of it just so you're not staring at it. And it looks like this is probably the opposite side of the van as the shower. I would guess the shower's on one side and then the toilet is on the opposite side. So, if there's any chance for water to get over by the electrical, obviously that's not a good idea, but overall pretty good execution. I do like the build. I think it's kind of cool, and it's a different design, and it has everything people want. Most people want a bathroom and a toilet, and he's got a real toilet. So it's a pretty cool setup. He's asking $40,000 for it, and he's located in St. Petersburg, Florida. The vehicle has 73,000 miles, and it is a automatic 8-cylinder gasoline engine. So overall, I think it's a pretty cool rig, and congratulations, Anthony, on the build out. I think it's pretty well done. Let's hop back in the chat. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so Pat says, I just ordered a 2500 watt for $349 on Amazon today, but the review shows 1900 watts, but that's good for charging my Blue Eddy. It's a China model straight. Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about. 2500 watt what? Inverter? You got a 2500 watt inverter, I guess, is probably what he got. Yeah, even the China stuff, it still works. A lot of the weird name brand or the off-brand stuff. The batteries that I use are lithium. Time USB is the brand, and it's just one of those China brands that I'd never heard of. And I've been using their lithium batteries for almost 2 years, and I've had no issues with them. So China still has some pretty good products. I definitely don't knock the China stuff. Jennifer says, I have an RV with a generator looking for clean energy for my dog. Okay, Jennifer, yeah. So if you have an RV, your roof space will be a little bit limited just because of the things on the roof. Like you'll probably have an air conditioner, and you'll probably have at least one max fan and like some plumbing vent pipes. But it's still possible, depending on your rig. I don't know, 20 foot is kind of small. You'll just have to get up there and measure it out. But just so you know, if you want to, well, and the thing is, if you're using an RV air conditioner, those are more power hungry. So either way, you can, solar will help. Solar will help you out, but you might not be able to run it 100% off solar. Hey, Steve, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you back in the live tonight. I wanted to let everybody know that I've had a super busy week. I was going to mail out all the stickers. If you guys were in the last live, I gave away a bunch of free stickers. And also, we did the Temu drawing. So, Steve, I got your Temu package. Everything's going to get mailed out on Friday. Friday, I'm leaving Arizona. I'm heading to San Diego. And on my way out of town, I'm going to stop at the post office and mail all the stickers and also mail the Temu package on Friday. George says, what was the turnout on the cabinet on painting the edges? Oh yeah, good question, George. So I just used regular paint. I tried the nail polish, it didn't work. I tried the King, got me some like whiteout stuff, but the problem is my cabinets, like the cut edge of the cabinets was it's like a pressed board, and so when you cut it, it's unfinished, and it's just like super thirsty. So any type of like, small amount of stuff I would put on it would just instantly absorb, and it wasn't giving me a white finish. So I just went ahead and used regular white paint from Home Depot and just painted the edges with a roller brush, and it turned out good. So I should have just done that in the first place. I don't know why I thought I wanted to use nail polish. That was kind of silly. So the edges turned out fantastic. Hello, Elaine. Elaine says, so happy I caught your live tonight. Hope your overheating is fixed. Yes, so far the overheating is still fixed. I've went on a few drives, have not had any issues with overheating. So fingers crossed it continues to be that way. The true test will be Friday when I drive 3 hours to California through the heat. And as you get closer to San Diego, there's actually a part where you go up some pretty steep mountains, like kind of zigzag at some elevation, and that's going to be a pretty steep climb. So that'll be a pretty good test for the vehicle to see how it does and if it can handle the pressure. So fingers crossed, the old Econoline here can handle the pressure. Journey with Nicole says, sweet rig. She likes it. She likes Anthony's build. I agree. It was pretty sweet. Outdoors Dreadhead, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. Happy to see you back in the live tonight. Let me know how things are going for you. What the progress is on. I'm pretty sure Dreadhead's up in Portland, taking care of his parents' place or something like that. So it's, another month or two in Portland will be turning around. The weather will start to be a little bit nicer. Pat says 2,500 watt generator. Oh, I gotcha. Okay, so Pat bought a generator. Let me scoot my chair in a little bit. I'm like hanging off the back. Okay. Yeah, 2,500 watt generator will definitely do the air conditioner, no problem. Most air conditioners, when they start up, like if it's a standard air conditioner, like a house air conditioner or a wall air conditioner, they might pull like 1,400 watts when they first get started. So when you're running an air conditioner off, or same with an RV air conditioner, if you have like the rooftop AC, those can pull like 1,400 watts at startup, even if the running power is only 1,200. It takes a little more to get the compressor started. So you definitely want at least a 2,000 watt generator if you're trying to run an air conditioner. Katie in New Hampshire says, hi, Brad, and everybody. Hi, Katie. How is New Hampshire treating you? I feel like it's probably cold. Maybe some snow. I don't know. We're getting into March now, so maybe the snow has gone away. But New Hampshire does look beautiful. Dan asks about how is the parking brake. Oh, Dan. Oh, Dan. Oh, boy. So 2 days ago, I replaced the parking brake. My dad helped me. It was an all-day job, but I replaced it. The mechanic in Texas sent me out a new one. I installed it. It looks good. And so, I just got to put some mileage on it and see how it does. But after I installed it, I did just go for a little test drive around the neighborhood. I hit the freeway a little bit just to see if it works. And it works. The vehicle drives. So happy to have a new parking brake installed. John from Virginia. Do you have anything in storage at your mom or dad's house? Are you completely living out of your box truck? I do have, the only storage I have is I have like 2 big Rubbermaid tubs at my dad's house, but it's like keepsake stuff. Like I don't actually use it. I just keep it here. It's like childhood memories. I have like photo books and just some kind of random memorabilia that I've collected and some old clothing and stuff. So I do have a little bit, but not much, just 2 Rubbermaid tubs that I keep at my dad's, nothing at my mom's. Other than that, I'm completely out of the box truck. So this is everything I own. When I was in Texas for about 1.5 years, I did end up renting a storage unit. But the problem is when you have a storage unit, then you just end up justifying acquiring more things, and then I would find myself always having to like go to the storage unit and get stuff in and out of the storage unit, and then it became this whole struggle and this whole process of like having to deal with stuff. And the whole part about van life for me, a big part of it was just minimalism and reducing my possessions. And so I ended up, when I left Texas, I got rid of the storage unit, and I really do not want to have another one. I don't want all the stuff. And I can fit everything I need in this box truck. And honestly, even this box truck has more stuff than I need. Like I have some things in here that I haven't touched in months and that I really should be getting rid of. So it's really not hard. I mean, human beings are so simple. Other than having like some clothing, and then for me, I need obviously like camera gear and a laptop and an iPhone and some things to make food with. But other than that, like I don't really need anything else. So I could definitely live in less space. I could live in a small SUV if I had to. It wouldn't really be hard. Just Me and Bay RVing. This is my first live chat. Hey, what's up, Just Me and Bay RVing? Thanks for joining the chat. I appreciate you. I'm coming from my box truck out here in Yuma, Arizona. This is going to be the last live from Yuma, Arizona, because Friday I'm going to San Diego. So excited about it. And in San Diego, I'm gonna do some live streaming, like walk and talks. So I'm gonna go explore San Diego a little bit, and we'll do a live on the move. So it should be kind of fun. I'm excited about it. Anthony says, "Where did you get that stove backsplash?" Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, that's actually all that is. It's a tempered glass photograph. So if you just type into Google like tempered glass photograph or acrylic photograph, you can find them. There's all different websites that sell them, but you can have any photograph turned into a glass or a tempered or a acrylic backsplash. That's all it is. It's just a photograph. So a lot of people will hang them like on their wall just as a piece of art, but I decided to use it for a backsplash, and I got the glass one versus the acrylic, which is a plastic, because I wanted something more durable. So this one, it gets grease on it, you know, from cooking bacon and cooking meat, and it's super easy to just wipe it down and clean it really fast. So I love it. I'm a super big fan of it. Katie in New Hampshire says, "It's been a really warm winter. Looking forward to longer camping season." Heck yeah. I bet camping in New Hampshire is beautiful. Nicole says, "Minimal life is a simple, happy life." I agree. Part of part of the main reason that I got into van life was not just to save on expenses, but just to have less stuff. Because before I was in a van, I had a house and I had so much stuff, and I had not just, things like clothes and shoes and furniture, but I also had like a motorcycle and lawnmowers and fishing poles and camping gear and just so many things, and it just got overwhelming. So I think having less stuff is so much more enjoyable, and it gives you so much more freedom to just be a human and exist. I think sometimes as humans, we get caught up in the idea that we have to acquire things, and so life becomes about this, like, I think it kind of taps into our primal, like, hunter gathering instincts. And I think that's what's behind a lot of shopping and collecting, is that we have this like primal hunter gatherer instinct. And so I think retail and consumerism has kind of tricked us and kind of tapped into those primal instincts and used them against us to extract money out of us to buy all these tchotchkes that we don't really need, but we think we want it, and it's just a total vicious loop. So the nice thing about living in a smaller space, whether it's a car or a van or an RV, is that you're just literally limited on how much stuff you can have. And so every time that, like, I go to buy something, I have to really think about, do I need this? Where am I going to put it? And in many cases, if I'm going to get this thing, then I'm going to have to get rid of something else. So it kind of keeps you at this baseline where you have so many things you can own, and then if you want something new, you have to remove something, which is kind of nice. Because I'm sure most of you guys that live in sticks and bricks, you have the junk drawer, and some people have junk rooms. They have like a whole room in the house that's just full of things they've purchased online and QVC and Amazon that they don't really use. And so it just helps you kind of keep all those things at a minimum. Katie in New Hampshire said she enjoyed the interview with me and King Gamer. I agree. That was a super good interview. King Gamer is currently in Texas. He is picking up his car, which will soon be his home on wheels, and he will be bringing it back to Yuma, Arizona pretty soon. And I'm going to help him do a little build out, and we're going to turn it into a little car camper for him. And depending how things go, he might come over to San Diego with me. So that should be pretty fun. I'm excited to hit the road with King Gamer. Hey Pat, have a good evening. Take care. Happy to have you in the live tonight. Dan says, "When are you coming out to Florida, my friend? I'm still working on my van. Have some pictures for you soon." I don't know, Dan. I would love to come to Florida, but if I go to Florida, it'd be in the winter time. I don't want to be there in the heat and humidity. I was in Texas last summer. It was hot and humid, and I'm sure Florida is even worse because you're closer to the ocean. So if I come to Florida, it wouldn't be until the winter. Um, Let's see what else we got. Steve says Displate does a similar thing with photos, but on metal. Yes, Steve, you're correct. I have seen those metal printings, which are pretty cool. I like them. Adventures with Super Dave says, I got your sticker and note. I like it. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that the stickers have arrived. I was a little worried because I dropped them in this sketchy mailbox at the shopping center here in Yuma. It wasn't the regular like post office box. It was just like a little slot that was like part of a mail for the shopping center. And I was just like, well, I hope a mailman picks these things up. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen. So I'm super happy to hear that the stickers went out. Hey, what's going on, Mark? Happy to see you here, my buddy Mark Dole. I met him years ago, many years ago. I think we first met up in Oregon. He's been an OG nomad. This dude has been living in vehicles for probably 10 years. Mark is an OG. He's currently in a van. And let's see what Mark says. I'm going to be camping out in Anza Borrego Desert and Joshua Tree this weekend, making a stop in San Diego to weld a new cat. Hey, Mark, if you come to San Diego, come to Fiesta Island on Saturday. San Diego Camper Vans is doing a van life meetup on Fiesta Island. It's going to be big. They did one last weekend, and there was like over 100 people there. So it looks like a pretty cool event. I'll be there. Some people from Tiny Fest are going to be there. Should be a good time. And I plan on being in San Diego for a couple weeks. So even if we don't meet up that day, let me know another time and we'll definitely hang out. I'd love to see you again, Mark, and see how the van's treating you, see your new cat. John C. says, what are the rents like in Yuma? I have no idea, John. I have no idea. I'm so happy that I have no idea how much rent is because all the videos I see on social media say that rent is absolutely crazy. And we're actually going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to get into it because one of the things I want to talk about is how van life and just vehicle dwelling of any sort is a pretty good hedge against inflation, which across the board on all the assets and commodities and expenses, we are seeing crazy numbers of inflation. So I'm going to actually talk about that right now. Mark says 15 years. Mark's been living in a rig for 15 years, RVs and vans. And I think Mark is similar to my age. I think I'm a little older. I think Mark's like in his mid 30s. So Mark has been living in vans and RVs for like half his life, which is pretty incredible. Mark was doing it way before it was Instagram famous. So Mark is an OG and definitely a good resource. Steve asks if I'm still using Nomad Internet. Yes, Steve, I'm still using Nomad Internet. I love it. I'm using it right now. This live broadcast is coming to you from my Nomad Internet device. I'm going to turn the camera over. Let's see. Right here. Hold on. Right here. This is my Nomad Internet box. So it's working. It works great. I was going to say I did a speed test tonight. And I got my download speed on that Nomad before I did the stream was 126 megabits download and 15 megabits up, which is crazy. That's crazy fast. You know, most hotspots do like 30 or 40 megabits, maybe 100 if you're in the city, but over 100 was really fast. So I've been really happy with Nomad. It's been working great. I know they had a lot of criticism earlier on. The CEO was maybe a little shady, maybe, but I mean, it seems like they took over the company and it's going well. So I'm super happy with it. Jennifer says she's been at it for 2 years. She feels like a newbie. Yeah, Jennifer, you know, believe it or not, a lot of people don't even make it a year. A lot of people, you know, they see the videos on Instagram and they hop into Nomad Life. And then they realize it's difficult, and it's not difficult, but it's more of a challenge. You don't have unlimited hot water and unlimited electricity, and a lot of people bail on it pretty fast. So the fact you made it 2 years, give yourself a congratulations, and hopefully you enjoy it, and you'll be able to go many more years. I'm coming up on 6-year anniversary. April for me will be 6 years since I hopped in my first van back in April of 2018, and I have no plans of stopping. The thought of living at one location every day is absolutely depressing to me. So I have no plans of stopping. Hey, happy birthday, Mark. 36 years young this weekend. My man Mark having his birthday. Happy birthday, buddy. I hope you get to go out and do a concert or something. I know that you love music and live music events. So I hope you have a good weekend, and I hope you are blessed with some good memories as well. John C says, if you need to run your AC overnight, how long can you run it for? So, John, I have a 5100 watt hour battery bank that is two 200 amp hour 12 volt lithium batteries, and I ran my air conditioner all night in Texas. So now I have a mini split, which is super efficient. So mini splits range between 800 watts on high and 300 watts on low. So I have really good insulation in the van. So once it reaches like temperature, then it drops down to low power. And so I was able to run it all night in Texas, no problem. So if you guys are thinking about air conditioning, definitely get a mini split because they are so much more efficient. It's really the only way you can run an air conditioner off grid. If you have a traditional like an RV air conditioner, it's going to be really power hungry, and you're not really going to be able to do it. Robert's thinking about buying a box truck with a 16-foot box and a lift gate, a Isuzu NPR, a refrigerator truck. Yeah, refrigerator trucks have really good insulation. If you can do it, go for it. You get like 4 inches of spray foam insulation. It's a really good choice. It'll help you in the winter. Absolutely do it. Jennifer says, sounds depressing. I know. I'm like, so I've been in Yuma now since mid-December, and I'm so itchy to get out of here. I cannot wait. The beach is calling me. But you know what? If I had to live in San Diego all year, I would also be depressed. Like, I just like moving. I like experiencing new places and new scenery. I think scenery is a lot of it for me. Like, I love the beach in San Diego, but I also love the mountains in Oregon and the lakes and the rivers. I just want to keep traveling. I really don't want to have a single location that I live at. Kevin's looking at renovating a handicap shuttle bus. Do I have any plans or how to start? No, Kevin, I don't have any plans. I did a shuttle bus. I actually did 2 shuttle bus conversions, one for myself, one for a client. You just got to watch a bunch of YouTube videos and just dig in, man. It's a lot of work. It's doable. Actually, buses are the least amount of work because you already have the windows, you already have the door. If you wanted to make it easy, Kevin, don't insulate the walls or the ceiling. Don't worry about the floor. Leave everything the same. Just add the stuff you want. Add a bed, add a couch, add a sink. Don't worry about all the other stuff. With all the windows you have anyway, insulation's not really going to help because all your heat in the summer is going to come in through the windows or it's going to exit through the windows in the winter. So, don't worry about insulating stuff and don't worry about putting up ceiling and flooring. Just stick with the factory bus build and just add a few things and hit the road. And then if you really like it and you like the lifestyle and you want to do it long term, in a year or a couple years or something, then, maybe take some time to start, remodeling it and building it out. But if you're starting out with the shuttle bus, just get one, get the essentials, and just start living the lifestyle. It's pretty easy to make a shuttle bus into a home on wheels. Jennifer, thinking about getting a portable AC. Yeah, portable ACs, Jennifer, they're still going to be pretty power hungry. I don't know if they make them that have inverter compressors. That's the technology that's super efficient. So the mini splits have inverter compressors. That's why they're so low on power consumption. But because in my last box truck, I tried a portable air conditioner and I ran it off a generator and it was still super power hungry. I couldn't run it off my solar. And if you do get a portable AC, make sure you get the one that has 2 hoses. You need to have a separate intake and exhaust hose because some portable ACs only have an exhaust hose. And then what it does is it sucks air from inside your rig and then it pushes it outside the rig. And then what happens is it creates a vacuum and then it ends up sucking air like through the gaps in your doors and your windows. It's an absolute nightmare. So if you do get a portable AC for your rig, make sure you get one with 2 hoses. That's a little hack. The single hose units are not okay for vehicles. They're only meant for houses with big square footage where it can pull exhaust air from like other places within the house. Dan has been living on the road on and off since the 90s. Now he's 55. Oh, wait. Back at it full time and not looking back. 55 years young. You're young, Dan. 55 for being full time on the road. Good for you. Yeah. Smash that like and subscribe. Smash it. Smash it while I spew this wealth of knowledge for all you folks. Yes, Mark. So Mark says last time I was at Fiesta Island, it was covered in brand new signs that say habitation and vehicle prohibited at all times. So Mark, I don't know if you saw, but San Diego got sued literally 2 weeks ago. There was a class action lawsuit, and the city of San Diego settled with this group that sued them about habitation in vehicles. And as part of the settlement, San Diego agreed to stop ticketing and citing people for habitating in their vehicles for the next 3 years. And there's multiple news articles about it. You can Google it if you're curious to learn more. But basically, for the next 3 years, you can live in your vehicle in San Diego in most places, and you will not get cited. You will not get towed. They can ask you to move if you're in like, a certain spot, but it specifically says they have to ask you to move before they will tow you or ticket you. So it's a very big change from how San Diego used to be. They used to be very, very vigilant against vehicle dwelling, and since this class action lawsuit, they did a complete 180. So I haven't been there since, but I'm hoping when I go there to find out, I'm hoping to see it much more friendly to vehicle dwellers. Outdoors Dreadhead, how hard was it to find your insurance? Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little tip here. When you get into vehicle dwelling, you are no longer a part of normal society. You're turning your back on the conventional way of life. And when you turn your back on the conventional way of life, people who are not living that lifestyle and maybe don't like that lifestyle will want to make your life very difficult for you. Part of it might just be because they don't approve of what you're doing. Part of it could be because they're jealous of what you're doing and they wish they could do it themselves. So when it comes to living in a vehicle, I always give the guidance to provide as little information as possible to authorities. So this goes for government, but also companies, corporations, anybody that you're seeking a service from. I generally recommend that you don't just come out and state what you're going to be doing with your vehicle. So I see a lot of people like on Facebook that say, oh, I just got this shuttle bus and I'm calling around and no insurance companies will insure it because I'm living in it. Okay. So what you do when you're going to insure your vehicle to live in it, you have two options. Either one is you don't tell the insurance company you're living in it. So you just insure it as a regular vehicle. The vehicle I have, because it's a commercial vehicle, like when you get a box truck or a shuttle bus, the title, the VIN designates it as a commercial vehicle. So you cannot get a traditional automotive insurance policy for it. Insurance companies will not give you a regular policy. So what I did is I got my insurance from Progressive Commercial. And so as a commercial vehicle, you can get commercial vehicle coverage. And my insurance is only $82 a month. Now, I only have liability insurance. I don't have full coverage. So if I get in a wreck, they're not going to pay me to fix my rig or rebuild it. But my liability only is only like $82 a month. Now, how do you get commercial insurance? When I did it, I filled out the form on the internet. And I did this before I had my solar installation company. When I bought this box truck a year and a half ago, I didn't even have a business. So when I filled out the insurance application online with Progressive, I put in all my personal information, my name, my address, my phone number, and then it asked me about my business name, and I just made up a business name. Like I just made it up. I think I called it what did I call it? I called it like Abundant. My last box truck was named Abundance. So I think I called it like Abundance Media Company or something, but I just made up a business name and put it on the insurance policy, and nobody asked me any questions. They didn't ask for any proof of that I even own a business. And so if you look at my insurance paperwork from Progressive, it says Abundance Media Company, and it's a Progressive policy. So that's how you get insurance on your shuttle bus, on your box truck. If you have a regular van, like a passenger van or a transit or a sprinter, just get regular car insurance. Don't tell them you're living in it. Give them as little info as possible, and you should be fine. And now, another thing you can do if you want is once your vehicle is converted, you can change over to an RV policy. It involves some additional steps through the DMV. You have to have the title changed over to a motorhome. I did that on my last box truck and my last shuttle bus. It's not difficult, but you can't do it until the vehicle's converted, because in order to get that switch, you have to have like certain things in your vehicle. Like you have to have water tanks, you have to have a stove, you have to have plumbing. So there's certain things you have to do, but that's an option for you once you get your vehicle built out. You could have it titled as an RV, and insurance on RVs is also pretty cheap. Robert says maybe get an LLC. Yes, I have an LLC now for my solar company, but I'm still insured under my old bogus company name. So that's a trick for you guys. If you want to try to get insurance coverage, you can just make up a company. And then once your vehicle's converted, you can switch it over to RV insurance, or you could start an LLC. Most states, though, charge you for an LLC, and then you have to like file taxes and stuff. So it's up to you, but you could definitely do an LLC if you want. All right, guys. So we're gonna go. Believe it or not, I actually had some topics planned for tonight and some videos I wanted to share. So tonight, what I was going to talk about is how living in a vehicle can kind of help you save on expenses. And I've been watching on social media all the people just talking about how expenses are out of control. And so me as a vehicle dweller, the only expenses that I really see are gas, car insurance, cell phone insurance, and food. Like those are the only really expenses that I'm aware of. I don't pay for rent. I don't pay health insurance. I haven't had health insurance for like, I don't know, 10 years. So fingers crossed. But anyway, so those are the only expenses I'm aware of. And I've seen those go up a little bit, but I'm going to share some videos with you guys and just show you kind of the state of where our world is at right now and what some people are dealing with. And I'm curious with you guys, who is currently living in a vehicle and who's living in sticks and bricks. And then also, if you are in a vehicle, did you do it to save money, or did you do it mostly like for travel and freedom and adventure? Like, what was your reason for choosing the nomad life? I'm curious. So drop a note in the chat, and I'm curious to see what you have to say. So I'm going to share this screen here, and we're going to listen to what this lady has to say about the cost of living and rent here in America. All right.
You want to know what's funny, right? The average cost of rent rose up from $2,000 to $3,000, right? And if you're supposed to make 3 times the amount of your rent in order to qualify to be able to rent a place, that means you had to make $9,000 a month, meaning you had to make over $90,000 a year, right? Come here. That means even if you were to make $25 an hour at your job, you still would not be able to afford to stay at a place by yourself. And people are saying, oh, we'll just get a roommate. Nobody likes roommates. And you can't even rely on the roommate to either come up with their half of the rent. And if anything, they're more of a liability. Putting their name on the lease is even more stressful. And notice how we're just talking about renting. We're not talking about getting a house, because virtually that's just impossible at this point. So yes, none of this is fun. Being an adult isn't fun.
Excuse me. So I wanted to share that video with you guys. I have been out of the rental game and the mortgage game for so long that I had no idea what the cost of rent even was. But it looks like for most people, and let me know where you're at, if you're paying rent, if you're experiencing different prices, let me know what you're paying. But it looks like for most people, if you're in like a major city, renting an apartment, kind of just getting in the door, you could be spending around $2,000 a month. Which is crazy because that's just on rent. And then on top of that, you have all your other expenses, groceries, food. And I know car insurance and car loans are going up. I know the auto rate, the interest rate on cars is going up quite a bit. So it seems like, you're spending 2,000 a month for rent, and then a lot of people are spending another $1,000 a month on a car. So that would be like $3,000 a month just on a house and a car. And then on top of that, it's like you got to pay for food. I don't know how people are doing it. So, and again, this is just talking about rent. I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about what the mortgages look like. So I'll tell you my story. For me, I bought a house. I bought my house back in 2013. And at the time, I was a heating and cooling technician, residential, and I was making, with commission, because I also sold new equipment, I was making like 25 bucks an hour back in 2013. And the house I bought the cheapest house I could find in Oregon. It was a foreclosure. It was 1,400 square foot house. It was $165,000. And let me tell you, this house was absolute garbage. I mean, like every room in the house, the carpet was ripped up. The walls had mold on them. I mean, it wasn't even livable. It was the cheapest house I could find. And I bought it because I have the skills to remodel it and build it up. And also, I wanted the lowest monthly payment. But what's crazy is when I bought that house for 165,000, I was approved for like up to a $300,000 mortgage. And I did the math really quick. And if I would have taken a $300,000 mortgage, my monthly payments would have been more than 2/3 of my monthly paycheck. 2/3 of my paycheck would have went just to my mortgage and my mortgage insurance and all the fees. And that's when I kind of realized there's going to be a lot. I was like, I asked my real estate agent, I was like, why would I buy this house? Who's buying houses when the monthly expense is such a large percent of their income? And she was just like trying to talk it away, like, oh, it's no big deal, and get some roommates. But there's a lot of people that I think got overextended because they were giving out way too much loans. Anyway, so that's renting is pretty crazy. The house I was in was affordable, but even at 25 bucks an hour, it was still really expensive. I remember at one point I had my truck broke down and I had to have some car repairs. And after I paid all my bills and my mortgage and my car repairs, I had like no money left. And this was right after I got my paycheck. So basically, I was broke for 2 weeks. And that was pretty scary for me. That was when I realized, like, I got to really reevaluate my life situation because I have no emergency fund for the next 2 weeks. So that was a pretty good wake up call for me. So now I want to play this video and we're going to talk about the cost of actually owning a house. So like mortgage costs.
Hey Andrew, can you afford a $500,000 home on an $80K salary?
That's a great question. Let's hit the numbers with good old faithful. All right, so we have a $500,000 house. Let's use our favorite mortgage here at RCG, FHA, baby. So you have a 3.5% down payment. It's about $17,500 for down payment. So what does this look like? Assuming amazing credit and great qualifications, roughly an interest rate of 6.5%. So principal and interest, you're at about $3,100 a month. Insurance, you're about $100 a month for a $1,200 a year policy. Taxes, let's say $12,000 a year, which is $1,000 a month. Mortgage insurance for FHA, it's about $220 a month. What does that equal? $44.20 a month. So if you make $80,000 a year, let's say that's about $66, $67 a month. This is actually 66%. That seems to be a common theme here of the income going towards your debt. You actually don't qualify. But we're
That is absolutely unbelievable. So you can see that a $500,000 house, if you're making $70,000 a year, you can't even afford it. And what's crazy right now is not just the cost of housing has gone up, like the houses themselves cost a lot more, but additionally, now the interest rates have doubled, tripled what they were a few years ago. So now, a $500,000 house now, that was $300,000 a few years ago, and then your mortgage would have been 3%. I think my mortgage was around 3, and now you're paying almost 7%, maybe 8% interest. So it's absolutely nuts. I feel sorry for people. I feel sorry for, the regular folks that are trying to follow, that life path of go to school, go to college, get a job, buy a home, start a family. So much of that is unattainable for, not just my generation, but the younger generations. They just can't afford it. So it's shocking to see that happening. And then I wanted to play this next video and just kind of show you guys. I got one more video that's a little crazy, and just show you how people are feeling about what's going on right now with the cost of living increases.
Anybody else just sick of this shit? Just sick of it. Sick and tired of this shit. Cause same. Realizing that I can't afford to live. Bro, what? I work full-time hours and I can't afford insurance, because if I opted for insurance for me and my dependents, guess what? I would work full-time just to make sure I have insurance. I wouldn't even be getting paid. I would owe them money. So I wouldn't be getting money to pay my bills. My rent just skyrocketed and I can't afford it. So I have less than 30 days to move, and everybody else is asking for 2 to 3 times rent. 2 to 3 times. I can't even speak. Who the fuck makes that? Yet, have y'all seen what's going on with our government? They can't even pay their own bills. But I'm gonna just leave it at that. Are y'all paying attention?
So I'm sure you guys have seen, videos like this all across the internet. There's people working full-time jobs. Some people are working full-time jobs and then second jobs just to try to pay bills, and they can't even do it. And what's happening is the wages are stagnant and the cost of living is skyrocketing. So, I mentioned back in 2013, I was making about $25 an hour, and I was pretty comfortable with that. I felt good. I could go out and have dinner and have a girlfriend and buy toys and stuff. But, a lot of people today are struggling, not even making $25 an hour. And the cost of living is so much higher. So I don't know how people are doing it. But what I wanted to share with you guys is a little bit of hope. And I wanted to share with you guys the bright side of things. And so what I wanted to do was show you and talk a little bit about my expenses living in a van. And so if you notice, most of the expenses right now and most of the things that have people stressed out is the housing situation. Most people aren't complaining about their phone bills and their car insurance bills. Most people are complaining about housing, rent, and car payments. And so I believe if you can buy a car outright, or get a used car with a low monthly payment, hopefully you're not paying these crazy interest rates, you can save and live in it. You can save a ton of money by totally skipping around the rent and the cost of cost of rent and home ownership. So I'll share with you guys. Let's see. Let me pop up this window here real quick, and I'll share with you guys kind of what my expenses look like. And I want to show you guys how easy this is. Give me 1 second here while I pull it up. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Let me just do a screen share. I don't know. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to do this for now. Cancel. Hold on. Give me a second. I think that worked. Okay. So I think you guys can see this. You probably can't see me, but I think you can see this chart. So I made a little chart of, man, is that all funky? Let me see. No, it looks like it's not going to show up properly. Okay, well, I'll just skip that. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm just going to skip that because it's not doing what I want it to do. Anyway, so I made a chart of my expenses for van life, and the cool thing about van life is all you have is your regular living expenses, like whatever you're going to spend on food, whether you make your own food or you eat out or you eat McDonald's or you make pasta, all of your food expenses are going to be the same. Your iPhone, phone insurance, if you go to the gym, that's all going to be the same. And so your housing cost is rolled into your vehicle. So like for me, I bought this van for cash. It was $13,000 when I bought it a year and a half ago in Texas. You know, you could start out in an SUV or a car or something for $6,000, whatever you got, and then you're not paying any rent, and your only expense is gas and insurance. But you know, regardless of what you drive, you're going to have to pay insurance anyway. And if you don't own a car and you live in the city, you're going to have to spend money on transportation anyway. So even if you don't own a car, you're still probably buying Uber or Lyft, or you're paying for a bus ticket or something. So regardless, you know, you're still paying money for transportation. And so I calculated the prices when I was in Austin, Texas, June 14th through July 12th of last year. And for that whole month, this was living in my van, downtown Austin, stealth camping every night, you know, switching up locations, driving to the river, driving into town. And my vehicle gets horrible fuel economy. My van only gets 9.5 miles per gallon. And my gas bill for the entire month was $361, which sounds like a lot of money. But if you look at that from like a rent standpoint, you know, it only cost me $361. My insurance was like $82. So 460, about $450 was basically what it cost me to travel around in my van. And I spent that month $486 on groceries. I spent $108 eating out at restaurants. And then for my gym membership, my iPhone, and then I had my car insurance into this segment. And then also I did have a storage unit, was also $360 per month. So my total expenses for 1 month living in Austin, Texas was $1,300. And let me tell you, you can't even barely rent a studio apartment in Austin for $1,300. If you do, it's going to be in the ghetto. It's going to be a pretty ghetto studio apartment. So for $1,300, that was everything it cost me to exist as a human on planet Earth in Austin, Texas. So I thought that was pretty cool to put that into perspective for people that are feeling the financial crunch. And I wanted to share one more video with you guys and show you kind of the other side of the coin. And so what it looks like for people that aren't stressed about their financial situation. I thought this guy was really funny. He just has a super cool perspective on it. And he's he's got kind of a great attitude about it. So, let's check out this video.
I live in my car because the cost of living in America is just too high. So I get questions like this, like, what am I going to do if my car busts? Which I feel like is a weird way of phrasing that. But if my car does break down, I'll just get it fixed. And if it's a repair that costs more than $1,000, then I am just going to get rid of the car and then move to Europe and start a new life there. It's pretty simple. I have nothing tying me down to America. I also bought a block of cheese. This is medium cheddar. I've never had it before. But yeah, I have no anything tying me here to America. No friends, no family.
So I just love this guy's attitude. I think he's absolutely hilarious. But like, can you see like how he's just smiling? He's grinning big. Like this guy is not stressed. He's super chill, living in his car, and he's like, if it breaks down, I'll fix it. If I can't afford to fix it, I'm just gonna leave the country. So I thought that was pretty cool. He's got a pretty good attitude about it, and I think that's actually one benefit of living in a cheaper vehicle and not doing a full conversion is if you can get by just living in an SUV or a car or something and you don't really care about it, if it breaks down or something, you can just ditch it and get another one. Or, you could catch a flight to somewhere, out of the country and, work there for a while or something. So it's just pretty cool to see how happy this guy was. And I'll show you one other video too that I thought was pretty cool about somebody just living in their rig.
Hey, hey, hey. How much do you pay for rent?
I don't pay rent. I live out of my Subaru. Want to see it?
Yeah.
Let's go. This is Forrest, the Subaru Forester, and this is my home on wheels. This is my pantry. This is my stove, and this is where I cook. This is where I sleep. And to give you an idea of how much space there is.
Do you want that now? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's way easier to get. Hello.
This is my cargo box. This is where I keep all of my outdoor gear. In my passenger seat is where I keep everything that I need readily accessible. So that's my...
By the way, I just wanted to pause this video and point out, look at the mountains in the background. Like, look where she's camped at right now. I mean, is she in the Swiss Alps? Like, I don't know where she's at, but that is absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous scenery. And so, one thing I wanted to really point out is the thing I love about van life and just vehicle dwelling in general is that you can stay in some beautiful locations. And it's like, I feel like a lot of the people that are really feeling the crunch and are depressed and down about their financial status, they're like in the city, they got all the pressure and like the city life and the busy energy around them, and they just feel like the struggle and all the financial stress, and it really just kind of pushes you down. But if you can get out of the city, out into the wilderness, out to the river, it's just so much more beautiful and relaxing, and you'll realize like there's a whole nother world out there. Like there's no stress out in the mountains. It's like it's a pretty good vibe. So I wanted to show you guys kind of just the contrast between that first lady, who's like, can't afford health insurance, working a full-time job, super stressed out. And then we got the cheese man that's just got the biggest grin on his face. He don't care, living in his car. And then this girl who's like just living in her Subaru and has some super beautiful mountain in the background that she's, staying the night at. So, I mean, it's like, do you want to spend $3,000 a month and rent an apartment in a city with neighbors that have screaming kids? Or do you want to live on... I appreciate Jennifer mentioning my budget for Austin. It was only $43 a day. Would you rather live with no rent, spending only $43 a day to exist, and have beautiful mountain views and be out in nature and wake up next to a river? I mean, it's literally a crossroads right now. And I think that's why so many people are choosing vehicle dwelling. I've seen, especially young people, like more than ever, I'm seeing kids, people that are 18, 19, that are living in their cars because they would rather live in their car than live at their parents' house, which I totally can relate to. Like when I was, just out of high school, 18, 19, I wanted to go party and like drink and date girls. I didn't want to be under my parents' rules. So I would have much rather lived in my car anyway. So it just makes sense. And I think a lot of people are finally figuring it out. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Anyone that's struggling financially or, thinking about vehicle dwelling, it's a great savings. And I really recommend giving it a try. Looking back at the comments, Jennifer says she's in Atlanta. A studio is $1,900 a month. That's banana pants. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And what's amazing to me is, so in Atlanta, it's $1,900 a month for a studio. But if you try to go get a job, like at most retail, at McDonald's, at Home Depot, what are they paying you? $12 an hour, $15 an hour? How are people supposed to afford $1,900 for a one bedroom when they're making $12 an hour? It just doesn't add up. Journey with Nicole says, yes, leave the city, go be in nature. Yeah, I was ahead of the curve. I started in 2018. Cost of living wasn't crazy yet, but I could see the signs that it was going to be bad. And that's why I got out, and I'm so glad I did. Jennifer says her savings rate is over 80%. Yeah, moving into an RV. Yeah, good job. Good for you. Off-Grid Cowboy, how you doing, brother? Off-Grid Cowboy says, when I visit my friends in the city, I'm amazed how expensive it is. Dan says, I'm seeing all age groups living out of their cars. Yeah, absolutely, Dan. It's all ages. It's not just kids. I see a lot of kids doing it, but it's everybody. It's middle age, it's retirement age, it's older people that are on Social Security. I worked for a while with Bob Wells from Cheap RV Living. I worked for him, helping him film his videos, and we did some work with his charity, HOWA, Homes on Wheels Alliance, and most of their people that they helped out with charity that they would give money to or give vans to, it was all low income, like retired people that were on Social Security. And there's a lot of people out there living on, it gets bad, living on like $600, $700, $800 a month fixed income, Social Security, and they're making it happen. But there's a lot of people that are turning to vehicle dwelling for that exact reason. Terry and Kirby say they're starting an AMBO next month. Starting in an AMBO, that's exciting. I like an ambulance. That's a good platform. Jennifer says, have a trade, not a job. Yeah, I agree, Jennifer. I think a lot of the problem too is that the younger generation doesn't have high level skills. Like when I look at all the TikToks and like the Instagram reels, it seems like all the younger kids are just doing gig economy work. They're doing like Uber Eats and regular Uber, driving cars and Instacart. And it's all these jobs that are like, it's just easy. There's no skill required. And so when you have a job where there's like no skill, then there's tons of competition for that job and you can't really make that much money. Same with pretty much any retail job. Whether you're working at Home Depot or Starbucks or McDonald's, almost anybody can do your job if you work in retail. And so they're just going to always offer low wages and hire the cheapest labor they can. So it's really important to have a good skill. When I was younger, I did heating and air conditioning as my trade. I got trained in that, so that was a really valuable skill. And then when I switched over to van life, I started doing build outs and conversions, and then I got into electrical and solar in vehicles. So I've been doing that for many, many years now, and that's my skill and trade, and it pays really well. It pays me very comfortably. In fact, I can work like this job I did today. It took me 5 hours to complete, but basically, off that one job that I did, I could live for a couple weeks no problem. Like, I mean, it pays me really well. So it's like, I mean, imagine, I was thinking about it, and the amount of money that I made today in 5 hours of work, some people have to work 40 hours to make that same amount of money. So it's really important to learn a skill, and I'm reasonable. Like my pricing isn't even expensive. Like if you go to a van conversion shop to have solar done, or you go to an RV service company to have solar installed, their pricing is like 2x to 3x what I charge. So I'm the cheap guy, and I'm still making that kind of money. So it just, it's really important to have a trade, have skills, not just a job. Jay Williams says, cheers. Is box truck life a long-term plan for you, or do you want to buy a piece of land and build out a cottage without a mortgage? So, I often struggle with this because on one hand, I would like to have a home base, and I would like to have a place to have like some more tools and kind of a workshop, because I do like to work with my hands a lot. But I really like traveling. And so the challenge is, hold on, let me get rid of this TikTok here. Okay, so the challenge is, if I get land, then if I leave the land, I'm going to be worried about it. I'm going to be worried about if people come on my land and, try to mess with it or steal stuff or break stuff or whatever. So I'm torn. And I really, at this point, I don't plan on getting land for that exact reason. Maybe when I get older and more worn out, then I might settle down. But for now, for the foreseeable future, I just want to travel. I love spending the winters in Arizona. The weather's wonderful. All the nomads are here. There's so many nomad events, Schoolypalooza and Van Aid and all the San Diego events. There's just so much going on in the winter and so many people coming in. It's a great place for me to get jobs and do work and make money, and a great place to hang out in the beautiful sun, and I can cross down into Mexico. So I love spending winters here. But then in the summer, I like to go, travel the West Coast. And I love Oregon, the Pacific Northwest, the Oregon coast. So it's like if I bought land, I wouldn't even know where to buy it, because I don't want to spend summer in Arizona and I don't want to spend winter in Oregon. So it's like wherever I bought land, I would only be there a few months a year. And at that point, it kind of doesn't make sense. So honestly, I'll tell you what I really think is the best model. What I think the best model is for people in my situation, for us vehicle dwellers, would be if we could get a big piece of land, like say 30 acres, and you could maybe subdivide it or like rent out lots, so that you could have, say, 10 or 20 people with their own space on a big piece of property. And the idea would be some people would live there full time, and then some people would just come and go. And then that way, there's always going to be somebody on site to kind of watch over the place, make sure if it's winter, the pipes don't freeze. If it's summer, we don't have some kind of a disaster, and nobody comes on the property and steals stuff. So I think that would be the ideal situation. It would almost be, in my mind, it would be like an RV park, but with much more spread out lots. So you're not parked right next to each other. Maybe every person has like, an eighth of an acre or something. And so it'd be more spread out, but you have a spot that's yours and you can do with that spot what you want. And then there might be some community things, like you could have a big community barn or something where you could have like, community tools or like a lawnmower or whatever. But I really think something like that would be a situation I would be excited about, because I wouldn't mind spending a few months out of the year at a location and investing into it. I'd be happy to help. I'd be happy to help build out and, put my labor into the land. I could get everybody set up with electrical and help with plumbing and, all kinds of building projects. But I would want to know that I could leave for 6 months a year and that there would be other people there to watch over the land and make sure that it continues in a proper way. So that's what I want to do. And I know a lot of other nomads are buying land, but all the nomads I know, they're all buying their own piece of land. Like they're buying 10 acres, they're buying 20 acres. And the problem with that is then you're just living alone on 20 acres. And that's not really fun. I mean, some people enjoy that, right? But it's like, if you're going to live alone on 20 acres, you might as well just go live for free on BLM, or I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I don't feel like that's the path I want to take. So I'm sure there's other nomads that would be interested in something like this. And yeah, Jennifer says great idea, sounds profitable. So maybe something, and I would be interested if other people are interested in it. I would be interested in figuring out a way that we could actually make this happen and put it together. But maybe another idea would be, we got a big piece of land, like let's just say 50 acres, right? A big 50-acre piece of land. And maybe we broke it up into like 3 sections, right? So say like 30% of the 50 acres is for full-time people that want to live there all year. Or maybe less than 30. But I haven't figured it all out yet. But there's a section for people that want to live there all year. And then there's a section for people that want to still like own a spot, but just kind of come and go whenever they want. But then also you could have a campground section. And so the campground would just be a traditional campground where nomads or RVers could just come through and stay for a night or a week or a month, and they would pay. And then that would help generate a little bit of profit that would cover, the cost of the land and of maintenance. And so in that regard, you could almost have like, it could make a little bit of money. I'm not talking about getting rich, but it could make enough money so that the land paid for itself, but also the people would still have, a place to stay and a place that kind of grew in value as well. So that's kind of something I'm interested in, like a hybrid campground RV park slash, kind of weekend getaway type place, but then also you could own a slice of it as well. So I don't know, something I'm thinking about. If you guys are interested in something like that, let me know. And I don't think it would take that many people to make it happen. I think it'd be fun. It'd be a fun project, and we could make videos about it. And I think a lot of people, as we put the word out, I think a lot more people would be interested. And I would do it 100% off grid. I would do it all solar powered electric. We would have solar air conditioning, solar heat pumps. We could have a garden. We could set up rainwater catchment, or depending where it's at, you might need to bring in water or something, or we could have a well, but I think it'd be kind of cool. Let's see what the comments say. Rachel says, I have similar ideas, a place for nomads to land. Yeah, see, now I've seen a lot of like nomad campgrounds, and there's this one website called Van Life Campgrounds, but the problem is all it is campgrounds. So your only option is camping. I'm talking about a campground, but also the option for somebody to own a piece of that land. Or if ownership isn't possible legally, maybe you could do like 100-year lease. Like I've heard of people doing that to like kind of get around the rules. So somebody could say lease a section of it for $30,000 and they would get 100-year lease of that piece of land. But I like the idea of owning a piece, because I don't want to just rent a few nights at a campground. I want to have a piece of land that I can put my blood, sweat, and tears into, and I can build it up and make it nice. And I can know that it's going to always be mine, and that I'm not going to leave for the season and then come back and find out that, it's been overran or somebody took it over or something like that. And also, I don't want to pay for a piece of land and then never be there either. So I think that's kind of a cool idea. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen something where you can have regular rentals like an RV park, but also where you could have like an ownership in it. So that's what I'd be interested in. Nomad's interested. Nomad King Gamer is interested. He's always down. Nomad is the homie. I appreciate you, brother. Rachel's interested. Jay Williams says Arizona is probably the best state for that. I agree, Jay Williams. I like Arizona a lot. I'm kind of thinking Probably northern Arizona. Southern is pretty brutal in the summer. It's hot down here for like 9 months out of the year, 8 months. It's just brutal hot. But northern, up by like Williams, Flagstaff, over by the Grand Canyon. It does get cold in the wintertime. But pretty much anywhere you go that's not the desert, it's going to get cold in the wintertime. Oregon gets cold in the wintertime. Washington, New Hampshire all gets cold in the wintertime. So I think northern Arizona would be nice because in the winter it doesn't get that cold. It's not like way below freezing. And the really cold months is it's only a few months it's really cold. And then in the summer, it doesn't really get too hot. Like it might hit high 90s, but it doesn't get up over 100. And it's really only hot for a couple months. So I think northern Arizona would be nice. Somebody said something about difficulty. Yeah, the zoning is hard to find, Jennifer. I agree. And I think the way to do it is we'd have to do a lease and we'd have to make it basically a campground. We'd have to figure out a way to make it like a campground, but where people could like lease spots. Because I know they have campgrounds where you can have cabins. You can like own cabins at campgrounds. So there's got to be a way to do it. We'd have to, nomads are clever people. We'd have to work around the red tape. The real answer is probably not ownership. We'd probably have to put the land in like a land trust or an LLC or maybe a nonprofit, and then we'd have to figure out how people could still like own or lease for a lifetime a piece of it. But I should do the research. I'm the one proposing it. I should do the research and see how it works. But I think northern Arizona would be a good spot. And then also community. The community would be nice. I think I've met so many awesome nomads. I would love to have, occasionally, at the property, go have a big nomad gathering or a bonfire. And then the other thing that's cool, somebody mentioned this in the chat. Yeah, so Off Grid Cowboy says, I've thought about having people come on the property and fixing their rigs as they were traveling. So that could be another part of it, is not only a campground, but it could be a spot for people to pull off and have services done. So if someone needs to do a build out, or they want to do a remodel, or they want to hire Nomad Brad to do some solar installations, they could come to this location and do the work themselves or have help, have the work done for them, whatever. So I think something like that would be pretty cool to offer. And I think Arizona would be a good spot for that. So I'm going to do some research into that and see what would be required, see what that would look like. Jay Williams says there's a place called Payson, Arizona. Yes, Jay. Payson is beautiful. Not as much snow, not as hot as Phoenix. I would have to look into property cost in Payson. I think property cost might be a little higher. But for what I'm talking about, we might be able to get some well, we don't want to do investors, but we might be able to get a lot of people interested that would want to buy these 100-year leases. Or maybe the way I could get around it is maybe it's a campground, but maybe somehow I could make it where you could rent the campground you could rent your campsite for 100 years. Maybe that's the loophole. It's owned by an LLC. It's ran as a business, so we can get business insurance in case somebody injures themselves. They can't sue everybody individually. So it's an LLC. They sign a waiver. And we have all these campgrounds. Maybe we have regular campgrounds where you can just rent a night, rent a weekend. Those could be like $15 a night, $30 a night if you want full hookups. But maybe we have special campsites where you can rent your campsite for 100 years. I'd have to do the math on how many nights that is, but you could rent your campsite for 100 years and it would cost you like $30,000 or something. Maybe that's the loophole to get around the zoning. It's a campground. That might be all we need. Let's see what we have to say here. Journey with Nicole. I know 100-acre property that would be perfect. Have to do it in Apache County. Let me know, Nicole. Tell me about the property in Apache County. I'd love to hear about it. And I think we could maybe do it if we make it a campground. I might have figured it out. Off Grid Cowboy says Coconino County has lax zoning. That might be something to look into. We would definitely need not only zoning, but we would need to have the building regulations super laid back. I don't want permits and all that BS going on. So it'd have to be somewhere out there, pretty a ways out there. Super Dave says, I'm about to buy myself an old U-Haul and then I'm going to build it and I'm going to find out what you did for your cabinets. So then I'm good for whatever and for whenever and whatever to meet up with you. Find out what you did for your cabinets. Absolutely, Super Dave. Happy to help you out. Keep in mind, Super Dave, as a premium member, you get a free consultation with me. Nicole just took me up on her offer last night. We talked all about her solar plans. So Super Dave, if you get to the point where you really want to sit down and figure out what you need for the build, talk about materials, you want some one-on-one time with old Nomad Brad, just let me know and we'll make that happen. And I'll make sure you're all dialed in, buddy. Van City Adventure, what's going on, my dude? Off-Grid Cowboy, 25 minutes north of Williams. Okay, cool. Off-Grid Cowboy's in Arizona too. I have a few friends with property north of Williams. The bread trucker, Paul Barger, bread trucker. I hung out with him down at Schoolypalooza. He's up there north of Williams. They have a whole road where there's like 5 different nomads that all have like 10-acre lots, which I think is kind of cool. So I would even be interested in doing something out there with him. But like I said, I want to have a bunch of people on my land. I don't want to be there by myself. Dan, in Florida, you can buy cheap property to hunt, hike, off-roading, and it's a gated community, but you can't build a house, but you can have RVs there. Yeah, so like that would be perfect. That would be perfect for what I'm talking about. I wouldn't want to do it in Florida, though. I would want to do it in Arizona. I think Arizona is a pretty good spot. It's close to California. It's close to the Northwest. Campsite timeshare. Yeah, timeshare, maybe. The only thing with the timeshare is, well, yeah, we could maybe do timeshare. The only thing with the timeshare is that technically the space that you own will be occupied by other people. And then you have to like compete with other people to get your spot. So you have to like go on a calendar, book when you want to arrive. And so maybe we could work out some kind of a timeshare model. Nicole says Apache County is the most laxed in the state. Jennifer says zoning again. Journey with Nicole says can make earth homes. So definitely something to look into. I'm going to look into that and see what I can do to make it happen. So folks, we've been going tonight. We did it. We're at an hour and a half. We went way longer than I planned on, but I had a good time. We talked about all kinds of stuff, saving money, living in a van, air conditioning, Chinese Chinese heaters or Chinese generators, all kinds of stuff. And I feel like we made some progress tonight. We kind of talked about maybe getting land and setting up a little stop for nomads to come hang out and have work done. So all kinds of exciting stuff. I think I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. I appreciate everybody that came by and said hello. Please like if you get a chance. Like and subscribe to the channel. And I will be live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I might bump that up because I'm going over to California next week, and 7 p.m. Mountain is 6 p.m. Pacific, and 6 p.m. is kind of early because by 6 p.m. I'm still doing like regular van life stuff. I'm like trying to find a parking spot for the night and eating dinner, so I might bump it up an hour. But anyway, I'll be live next week. I'll let you guys know what time, but every Wednesday from here on out, we're doing a live stream. So drop back in, join the community, see what's new, find out about this land project, see if we get land and start a nomad stead. And it's been a great chat. Thank you for everyone. I love all the new faces. Thank you, Jennifer, for providing so much to tonight's chat. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Super Dave. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you guys. And I will see you next week. Nomad Brad signing off.